This is a product of Coop with the Scoop directed by Don Ennis.
All right, here
Go.
we go. Three, two,
3, 2, 1.
one. My name is Rahil Ramzanali. I am a longtime media professional out of Houston. I've had the privilege to work at ESPN Houston, ABC 13. I once hosted the CityCast Houston podcast, and currently I'm doing play-by-play for the UFC on UFC Fight Pass for Fury Fighting Championship. And I live out in the Houston area. I love H-Town, and I have no plans of ever moving from here.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So, in your experience working for ESPN, long story short, I interned for you at ESPN 97.5 once upon a time ago. And um, what would you say is when you think back on your time, obviously you're not done yet, but when you think back on your time at ESPN, never say never, but what would you say are some of your favorite memories that you can remember from there?
My favorite memories from there were definitely building a show out with one of my mentors, John Granado, and one of my really good friends, Del Olalea. So, building out that show, in 2015, we had an opportunity to create a show, and we had free reins on the show. They're like, do whatever you want. And this was at ESPN Houston. So that was my favorite memory. Like we were, sarcastic, wild, tangents, and we were us. And that was the big thing that we wanted to capture. We didn't want to be just a generic sports show. We wanted to be three guys who have this relationship that, we've been fostering for at that time now almost 9 or 10 years. So we knew each other, we knew exactly how we all operated, and we just wanted to bring that conversation to the air. And that was so much fun. It was like I've never had more fun doing radio because I would think of a segment I wanted to do, a bit. I would run it by the rest of the team. They'd be like, yeah, this is pretty good.
Hmm.
And then we try it out. And if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, we move on. And we made fun of each other about it. And nobody had egos in it, which is kind of cool because Granado at the time, and still, I mean, like he's a Texas Radio Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So he could
Yeah.
have had an ego in that. And he never did. We just had fun. We made fun of each other. Every day going to work was a blast. I had never dreaded work, which is the best thing you can ever do in media is like you get to work and you're excited. So
Sure.
that was by far my favorite memory.
And additional question, because radio obviously is very, or at least from someone who hasn't done it, obviously you have experience doing it.
Mhm.
Um, for me, as someone who hasn't done it, it feels scripted. If not that it is, but it feels like hard to
Yeah.
not go off without a script. So for you, how did obviously working for Houston 97.5, you have to be not you have to be not biased, but you have to you want to point your attention to Houston, the sports teams.
Mhm.
How hard was it sometimes when there maybe are tough seasons with the Astros? How
Yeah.
was it balancing that? And obviously, as you say, you had incredible chemistry with everyone you were working with. How was it finding that sort of imbalance?
So we always said like we're gonna talk sports, but we're not gonna break down the X's and O's. That wasn't our thing. We would spend time on it sometimes, but like our thing was we wanted to provide a different perspective. And then when things were bad, we had some bad Texan seasons, we had some bad Rocket seasons. Luckily the Astros were really good, like starting in 2015 on, right? Like 2015 was bad, 2016 was rough because they missed the playoffs. Or no, they made it and then got eliminated in the first round. And then 2017, obviously, you had the World Series. And then from there, it was just fantastic. So it was good then. But even on the slow summer days, that's where we thrived, right? Because we built a culture of we're not just talking about sports. So we could talk about the Black Panther movie and spend 2 segments on it. So we
Mm.
never, we nothing was scripted out, but we always had a rundown with stories because the last thing you wanted to do was jump into a show and not have something to talk about because that's when listeners know that you're not passionate about a topic when you're not into a topic. So we always had things we were interested in, sports and non-sports, and that made it so easy.
It's a beautiful thing when really it's just flowing and it feels like you're not
Hmm.
really, there's no script, you're just going.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, there's no script ever. Some radio hosts do type out segments
okay.
and some things, but that like each person's different, honestly. For me, it was, I never script anything. I'm better improv, but I
Hmm.
would write out intros sometimes, especially with a guest. You want to nail certain things. So I would do that or put little pointers. But yeah, for me, it was all about just going in the moment and letting my personality shine.
Mm, beautiful. And in regards to that, there was obviously the situation that happened with Ryan Clark, and I just wanted to touch on a little bit of it because there was one circumstance where Ryan Clark got into it a little bit on the show with Peter Schrager, and
Hmm.
this is a subject that I think maybe you even know this. This is a subject that I feel pretty strongly about because it's a very big stigma in the world of sports media, and ultimately Ryan Clark obviously played football. He he had a stab at Peter saying that he doesn't know because he didn't play the sport. For you,
Hmm.
obviously, as someone who you and I are both someone who and there's many others in the sport, we don't have experience playing in the sport. How is it like?
Yeah.
How can we give our reasons for why it doesn't matter that we didn't play the sport? And
Yeah, so for
you
me, it's
understand?
a little, yeah, for me, it's a little different, right? Because I'm not presenting myself as an insider or breaking down tape. I played basketball, varsity basketball, whatever, right? Like I played basketball, but the one thing I get, what I always prided myself on was like talking to the people who did play, understanding it, talking to the teams, understanding little things, spending time watching film just so I know. And I still play recreational basketball, flag football,
I see
right?
it
Softball,
on the
whatever,
Twitter. I
right?
see it.
Yeah. It's like I'm constantly playing things and just understanding it. Obviously, I'm not a pro, right?
Yeah.
But just understanding like what concepts from the pro side could apply here. That's how I do it. But I never present myself as an insider. So I've never had that issue, right? And I'm the first one to admit it. If I'm talking to a player or a GM, I'm like, hey, look, I never played the sport. I do play rec ball, but like, tell me like why did this happen? Explain it a little bit more so everyone can understand because 99.999% of us never played pro level. So everyone wants to understand. So for me that was it. In that situation, that's just it's one of those digs that pro athletes can always take. And they're right. He didn't play pro sports. Like
Yeah.
he might not understand the culture of it. He might not understand what calls are being made. And athletes have an issue with that because you don't know unless you're literally talking to them after the game and you ask them about that specific moment and they give you that information, then you don't know. So like it's okay to admit that.